in the vast quiet of the virtual universe. Just as Luo Feng was preparing to forge his next set of secret techniques, a ripple of golden light appeared beside him. The Primal Chaos City Leader descended in his majestic golden robes, his presence heavy and solemn. He tried once again to persuade Luo Feng to abandon the spiritual master path. As someone perfectly aligned with the metal, space fusion law, Luo Feng was born for the warrior lineage. The spiritual master route, he warned, was far more fragile. Even legends like Shirlu Duo had failed to reach Universe Master because they insisted on walking that path. The city leader feared Luo Feng would throw away his future. But Luo Feng simply shook his head. His destiny was already carved. From Earth's creator sitting mountain guest, to the star tower, to the divine general inheritance, to every step that led him here. This path wasn't chosen lightly, it was forged into his bones. And no one could make him abandon it. With that, the decision was made. The responsibility, and the risk, was his alone. The moment Luo Feng vanished from the virtual scene, the golden-horned beast emerged in inner world. And just like always, Luo Feng resumed his meticulous training. First the moon policy, then the 10,000-star sermon map, grinding through each step with unwavering discipline. Meanwhile, in Ice Prison, snowstorms howled across the desolate expanse of Ice Hell, but even that savage wind couldn't drown out the whispered chaos rippling through the frozen wastes. Word was spreading, slow, broken, fragmented, but still spreading. Somehow, against all expectation, Luo Feng survived. Not just one death trial, but two. He made it out of Death God's Point, slipped through Silver Look, and lived to breathe the icy air of this hellish realm. But in this cut-off prison world where detectors failed and the virtual universe couldn't be projected, rumors traveled slower than glaciers. Half a year had crawled by, and still only a fraction of the powerful beings had heard the truth. Most of the creatures here didn't even talk to each other unless it was to kill or maim. Old grudges, race feuds, instinctual hostility. Everyone walked alone, ready to rip apart the next fool who crossed their path. Only the lucky few who had friends or equals would gather for short conversations before scattering again. This was Ice Hell. Brutal, silent, unforgiving. And in that silence, Luo Feng's legend was just starting to break the surface. Far in the southern snows stood a palace so massive and ancient it seemed carved by the universe itself. Jagged blocks of ice were scattered around it like fallen meteors, each etched with demon race characters, rankings, achievements, the hierarchy of Ice Hell's deadliest. And sitting inside was someone terrifying, someone famous, someone dreaded by all. Sky Wolf, one of the 5 invincible emperors. Unlike the typical sky wolves, brutal, savage, born killers, this one was known for something even stranger than his power, a relatively good temper. A peaceful sky wolf was like a gentle volcano. You never trusted it, but it was definitely special. Still, even this peaceful one had earned his place among the 5 through battles so legendary their echoes still vibrated through the frozen wastes. In the heart of the palace sat a throne of ice, and upon it lounged a creature so massive it looked like a mountain come alive. 15 kilometers of snowy white fur, each hair tipped with gold, creating a shimmering halo around him. 3 scar-like engravings marked his forehead, ancient symbols of domination. He was Sky Wolf. One of his scaled servants, barely emperor level but loyal, stepped forward respectfully and told him that the rankings might need an update. Sky Wolf's golden eyes narrowed as he asked if new battles had occurred. The servants explained that yes, the human, had fought both Lightning Racing Emperor and Silver Eye. At the word human, Sky Wolf instantly snapped to attention. His gaze, sharp as blades, crashed down on his servants as he demanded to know where this human was right now. But the servants shrank under the weight of his aura and explained that the fight happened more than half a year ago. When Sky Wolf heard this, he let out a low, frustrated growl that vibrated the palace. When the human first entered Ice Hell, Silver Eye publicly sought him out. Sky Wolf, meanwhile, had quietly sent his own search team. But with no results and no news, even Sky Wolf had eventually accepted the human as lost. And now he learns the truth half a year late. Sky Wolf stood up, for massive hooves cracking the ice beneath him. His servants instantly collapsed to their knees. His aura released like a storm, violent, impatient. He wasn't angry at Luo Feng, but at the very limits of Ice Hell itself. If this delay continued, even if the human surfaced again, news of him would arrive too late. Sky Wolf had no intention of letting that happen. He gave a single command, deep, cold, decisive: prepare the ice tablets. A giant ice tablet was placed before him, and Sky Wolf moved closer, demanding every detail of the human's recent battles. The servants explained everything: how Luo Feng suppressed Lightning Racing Emperor, how he outran the Emperor even when Lightning Racing Emperor burned his very flesh to escape, and how Silver Eye had sought him as well. As the servants recited the events, Sky Wolf carved demon race characters into the tablet with mere intent. Symbols glowed across its surface, one after another, forming the newly updated rankings of Ice Hell. First, Blood Dog. Second, Silver Eye. Third, Sky Wolf. Fourth, Black Wind. Fifth, Cin. Sixth, Human. A human, ranked 6th among the strongest of Ice Hell. Not even half a century inside, and already climbing into the top tier. But then Sky Wolf did something unprecedented. He left the top of the tablet blank. His servants exchanged nervous whispers. Their master always wrote from top down. Why leave the top empty? Because Sky Wolf wasn't finished. He carved one final message across the blank space, a message so bold it would shake all of Ice Hell. Anyone who brings the human to me will be forever protected. And I swear I will not kill him. I swear to all of Ice Hell. This tablet is my witness. When Sky Wolf finished, he ordered 900 copies to be made and sent to the mountain peak where all rankings were publicly displayed. The tablets spread, one after another, carried across the frozen lands like sacred announcements. Instantly, the reactions were explosive. Sky Wolf's protection? Eternal protection? In this hellscape where even emperors died like flies, that promise was worth more than treasure, more than life itself. Creatures who normally trembled at the sound of Sky Wolf's name now scrambled across the ice, sniffing for any sign of Luo Feng. Weak emperors, mid-ranked killers, wandering beasts, every one of them threw themselves into the search. Even those who feared the top-tier emperors were willing to try. After all, a single encounter with Luo Feng could secure a peaceful life, free from constant murder attempts. But Luo Feng wasn't someone you found by luck. His lair was hidden far beneath the snow with a micro-detector guarding it. Even if someone stumbled into the right area, they wouldn't see him unless they tore the land apart. And so, centuries passed. Decades of frantic searching, followed by slow dwindling enthusiasm. Eventually, only some desperate weaker emperors kept looking, the ones who feared death most and coveted peace the hardest. Meanwhile, Luo Feng kept growing. On a quiet island near the ice sea, Luo Feng sat alone on the beach, watching the tides of ice-dark water rise and fall. Dressed in black, calm and focused, he reflected on the 1,000 years that had passed. 1,000 years of comprehension. 1,000 years of struggling to push his beast god conception from level 20 toward level 21. 1,000 years of realizing just how massive the leap between those levels truly was. For the golden-horned beast inside Inner-World, every hour was spent copying the beast god sculpture, practicing Ran Shin 7 moves, grasping every thread of law hidden in the beast god's form. Meanwhile, Luo Feng's human body meditated on moon policy and the 10,000 star sermon map. And in the virtual universe, the Castellan delivered challenge after challenge, mercilessly forcing Luo Feng to refine his weaknesses. The results were astonishing. Luo Feng managed to craft the second move of moon policy, a devastating blade technique paired naturally with the Sha Wu wings. A single blade strike could crush almost any barrier. But when it came to building the second move of the 10,000 star sermon map, everything slowed. Luo Feng expected it to be easier. It wasn't. Spirit weapon laws diverged from close combat arcane codes far more intensely than he'd imagined. The deeper he went, the less one path could support the other. Still, he persisted. He entered Thunder Island's palace inside the virtual universe and reported his progress. The Castellan, his teacher, told him bluntly that the two paths, close combat and spirit weapon, would eventually diverge so much that using one to support the other would slow him down instead of helping. Especially in the higher moves. Especially when aiming for the 7th move, the move representing the power of a master of the universe. Most beings feared wasting time. But time wasn't the real enemy. Eternal existence meant time was infinite. The real fear was losing the peak forever. Even so, the Castellan hummed in the darkness, asking Luo Feng if he still chose his difficult, dual-path route. Luo Feng didn't hesitate. He affirmed his determination. The Castellan accepted his decision but warned him, one day, Luo Feng would likely realize he'd taken the wrong path. Luo Feng returned to Ice Hell with fire burning in his heart. Instead of joy over his achievements, he felt an intense hunger for battle. a desire to prove himself right through real combat, not theory. He stepped out into the snow, thinking about masters of the universe. Their tears, their treasures, their powers. He thought about the Star Tower, about Swan Ku's words, about the impossible heights ahead. He thought about how his path was absolutely the path he must follow. And as he walked, the wind carried away his doubts one by one. High above on a distant iceberg, a creature lurked behind the ranking tablets, gazing across the snowy expanse. A faint shadow moved far away, walking step by step through the storm. The creature squinted, gasped, then launched itself like a bullet. It landed tens of millions of kilometers away and bent down, examining the fresh footsteps pressed deeply into the snow. Footsteps he'd never seen before. Footsteps that matched the rumor of a human's stride. With exhilaration bursting from his ruby eyes, the metal-bodied creature took off. Teleport after teleport, thousands of kilometers at a time, he chased the trail, until finally, he spotted a lone figure walking casually across the frost. Luo Feng. Ecstatic, he dove straight toward him. Luo Feng turned calmly, watching the 2-meter metallic creature plummet toward him. He recognized him instantly. Metal Ka 2A, ranked 626. Normally, someone of that level wouldn't dare even look at someone in the top 10, much less the top 6. But Sky Wolf's promise had changed everything. Luo Feng raised his left arm, summoning 52 black stars that orbited him like a constellation of destruction. Time froze. Space trembled. From those stars burst a radiant web of golden threads, interlocking, merging, forming the towering manifestation of the beast god. 1,000 meters tall. Scales glimmering like ancient armor. A tail so refined and pristine, it carried the purest essence of the beast god's law. Even the surrounding space bent under the sheer pressure. Ka Tuo's excitement instantly turned into pure despair. He fled thousands of kilometers away in an instant, shouting that he meant no harm and that he came under Sky Wolf's name. Luo Feng let the projection fade. The beast god vanished into the sky like dissipating cosmic smoke, the 52 stars landing neatly into Luo Feng's palm. Ka Tuo approached cautiously, full of respect, holding out one of the ranking tablets. Luo Feng skimmed it, brow lifting slightly at Sky Wolf's public promise. This level of eagerness. This level of publicity. Sky Wolf clearly wanted something. After thinking briefly, Luo Feng decided to see the emperor himself. Ka Tuo was overjoyed. He teleported Luo Feng across Ice Hell, stopping just short of the palace out of respect. Together they flew the final stretch, catching the attention of Sky Wolf's guards, 2 emperor-level beings mind-controlled long ago. They shouted a challenge at first, until they recognized Luo Feng. The human. The one their master had waited centuries for. Excitement flickered through their eyes as one of them congratulated Ka Tuo. Eternal protection was no small thing. Ka Tuo trembled with gratefulness as they escorted Luo Feng into the enormous ice palace. Sky Wolf sat on his throne like a frozen deity, for gleaming gold, presence colossal. Even Luo Feng's golden-horned beast form would have seemed tiny beside him. Sky Wolf opened his eyes and spoke a single word that boomed through the chamber. Human. Luo Feng looked up calmly and asked why Sky Wolf had gone so far, why this massive public oath, why such eagerness to find him. Sky Wolf confirmed he indeed had a request. But first, he rewarded Ka Tuo for bringing Luo Feng. The metal creature nearly collapsed from relief and joy, bowing repeatedly before being dismissed. The doors slammed shut. Only Luo Feng, Sky Wolf, and the controlled servants remained. Luo Feng faced the Titanic Emperor and said quietly, "The doors are closed. Only your servants remain. You can speak freely now." Sky Wolf, draped in a chilling imperial aura, stared down at Luo Feng with amusement flickering in those cold blue eyes. He let his voice echo across every frozen wall, telling Luo Feng that he had been summoned here for one reason. He wanted to buy an anonymous account sensor. After being trapped for so many years, cut off from the outside world, he wanted a way to reach the virtual universe again. Luo Feng looked up calmly, almost too calmly. He reminded the beast that demons and humans were mortal enemies, that their very souls were incompatible with a human-made virtual universe. Even with a sensor, Sky Wolf's own consciousness would be rejected. He explained the same truth everyone in the human race already knew. Demon race consciousness couldn't enter the virtual universe. Even other barbarian tribes got restricted, monitored, sometimes even denied access outright. Only rare creatures like Silver Eye, with special conditions, were allowed partial entry. Sky Wolf didn't deny any of it. He simply said that while he couldn't enter personally, 2 of his servants could. They were from sister races of humans, compatible enough to slip inside as proxies. Luo Feng asked why he didn't use his previous sensor. And Sky Wolf answered with that cold, irritated honesty. Something went wrong. Their usage was discovered. The authorities stripped its access and used the coordinates to kill the one operating it. Luo Feng smirked. He knew. Everyone knew. Pretending to be human in the virtual universe was a deadly game. One slip, one wrong IP coordinate, and the system traced you, marked you, eliminated you. Thousands from barbarian races had died for trying. And yet, the 5 peak races never stopped building intelligence networks, no matter how often they were destroyed. When Sky Wolf demanded the sensor, Luo Feng simply shook his head and told him he didn't have one. Sky Wolf stared down at him like a parent catching a child lying about cookies. He told Luo Feng that he wasn't fooling anyone. He could create a sensor if he wanted. What mattered wasn't the device but the access authority. And Luo Feng absolutely qualified to apply for an anonymous account. The pressure settled heavily between them. Sky Wolf tried to keep his voice gentle, even friendly. He explained how barbarian races kept building one intelligence system after another despite the losses. Adding him to the list of participants wouldn't even matter. No one would notice one more. He finally admitted what he truly wanted. He wanted out. He didn't know if his race's intelligence system still existed, but he wanted to risk it. He wanted a chance at freedom, a way to contact the outside world again. Luo Feng asked if Sky Wolf was seriously expecting a human to help a barbarian. Sky Wolf corrected him. It wasn't help. It was business. Humans sold anonymous accounts every day. Half of them ended up with barbarian races anyway. Selling an account wasn't even illegal. Then came the opening offer. Sky Wolf said he would trade a treasure for it. Luo Feng raised an eyebrow. 1 treasure? Generous? Maybe for someone else. But Sky Wolf lifted his hoof, revealing a beautiful black stone staff carved with delicate patterns, radiating a force that filled the entire palace. He declared, 1 treasure for 1 sensor. Luo Feng stayed silent. Sky Wolf emphasized the point. Humans had countless sensors. They were both trapped. He was just an emperor-level undying, not even a threat to humanity. Luo Feng wasn't impressed. He refused. Sky Wolf's eyes twitched with disbelief. His servants glared as their master's temper began to curl around the palace like a rising storm. Luo Feng repeated the refusal. Sky Wolf was offering too little. Luo Feng didn't care about the morality, he cared about the price. Sky Wolf snapped and roared that he'd offer 2 treasures. Even the treasure he personally used. 2 treasures for something cheap on the outside. Still, Luo Feng said no. Sky Wolf exploded with outrage. He shouted that even invincible emperors rarely had more than 3 treasures in Ice Hell. These 2 alone were insanely valuable. He could hire a universe night killer for them. And Luo Feng dared to turn him down? Luo Feng didn't budge. Sky Wolf's fury shook the palace. A violent boom erupted as the beast vanished from his throne, appearing instantly at Luo Feng's previous location with claws ready to tear. But Luo Feng had already retreated, wings spread, 52 black orbs swirling like a miniature galaxy around his hand. He reminded Sky Wolf of his Ice Hell promise, not to kill him. Sky Wolf growled that promises depended on circumstances. His 3 forehead scars writhed as he demanded to know why he shouldn't kill the human who was blocking his path to freedom. Luo Feng remained calm. He pointed out that without access authority, a sensor was useless. And more importantly, Sky Wolf couldn't kill him. Even Silver Eye, with mastery over time law, couldn't. Sky Wolf specialized in space, but Luo Feng was faster. Speed trumped space. They locked eyes across the frozen hall, raw killing intent vibrating through the air. Finally, Sky Wolf steadied himself. He said Luo Feng must be high-ranking outside. His confidence with treasures made that obvious. No wonder 2 treasures weren't enough. In that case, he would offer his most precious treasure. Luo Feng blinked. Something more precious than a normal treasure? Sky Wolf revealed it, a hexagonal stone tablet with a mysterious beast roaring in its carving. The moment Luo Feng saw the sculpture, something inside him trembled, like an ancient memory being stirred. He had seen strange beasts before, but this one was different. Luo Feng mocked it as a pretty piece of stone, but Sky Wolf told him to inject his will into it. The moment Luo Feng's consciousness touched the stone, his mind was flung into a distant, ancient world. He received a stream of information, the token of Beast God inheritance under the most powerful ancestral god school. Soil and space merging law. A path to one of the 8 beast gods. Luo Feng was stunned but disappointed. The inheritance aligned with soil and space, while he practiced gold and space. But its value was unquestionably immense. Sky Wolf asked for his decision. Luo Feng told him he needed to think. Sky Wolf said he could wait. Then Luo Feng vanished into the virtual universe to research. The moment he entered the private room of his manor, he started digging through every classified archive he now had access to after climbing Primal Sky Mountain. He found it. Ancestral God School, an organization as old as the universe itself. 3 ancestral gods, 8 beast gods, 72 holy deified generals, and 3,000 prophets. Every seat fixed. No replacements unless the previous one fell. Their inheritances were scattered through the universe, but only one who succeeded a position became a member. The token Luo Feng held was one of the 8 beast god inheritance tokens. Just one step below the greatest treasures of existence. Humans were allowed to keep any token they found. If incompatible, they could even trade it for treasures equally valuable, or perhaps another token. Luo Feng's heart burned with excitement. Sky Wolf was doomed. Today was absolutely his unlucky day. Back in Ice Hell, Sky Wolf eagerly asked if Luo Feng had decided. Luo Feng nodded. Sky Wolf demanded the sensor first, saying he needed to test it. Luo Feng insisted on exchanging simultaneously. Sky Wolf laughed in contempt. If he gave up the token first, Luo Feng could run instantly. Then what? Luo Feng thought it over. Sky Wolf had a point. He tossed a quantum computer instead. A female servant with 6 wings, tall and striking, stepped forward and connected to the virtual universe. Sky Wolf watched anxiously, but Luo Feng secretly smiled. The servant wasn't connected to the real virtual universe at all. Luo Feng had set up a private local network, isolated, untraceable, fake but indistinguishable. The servant entered an old game and published a bounty mission. A clever move. Sending a message through a game made it nearly impossible for the system to detect spies. Countless players were online. One of them could be a demon race agent. But minutes later, she said there was no response. Sky Wolf roared in rage, accusing Luo Feng of tricking him. Luo Feng calmly admitted it. He then exposed Sky Wolf's deception. Sky Wolf was using the test as an excuse to send a message. If someone responded, Sky Wolf would gain what he wanted and still keep the inheritance token. Luo Feng would get nothing. Sky Wolf fell silent, caught in the very act. Only then did Luo Feng demand honesty. Sky Wolf must hand over the token first. Sky Wolf refused, furious at the risk. Luo Feng reminded him that even as an invincible emperor, Sky Wolf feared Luo Feng's escapabilities. Sky Wolf stewed, unable to think of a plan that could ensure mutual trust. Luo Feng threatened to leave. He mocked the beast. What was the point of having the token if he would die in Ice Hell anyway? At last, Sky Wolf broke. He shouted that he would hand over the token, but if Luo Feng lied, every creature in Ice Hell would hunt him. Luo Feng smirked. Sky Wolf threw him the hexagonal tablet. Luo Feng held it, feeling its terrifying weight and power. He told the beast the access would be granted. The servant connected again. Luo Feng connected as well. And in the virtual universe, he appeared on Thunder Island, at the palace of the Primal Chaos City Leader. He knelt respectfully as his teacher materialized, cloaked in golden light. The Primal Chaos City Leader asked what happened. Luo Feng explained everything, from Ice Hell to Sky Wolf, to the inheritance token. He admitted his real intentions. Originally he wanted to use Ice Hell as a training ground until he completed the 3rd chapter of Nanshan 7 and mastered the 2nd form of Sha Wu Wings, giving him the speed and spatial disruption to defeat the invincible emperors. He wanted to defeat them one by one, make one his servant, use treasures strategically, all to sharpen himself. But then this token appeared. How could he stay trapped for 10,000 years after seeing something like this? He wanted out. He wanted the land of inheritance. He wanted power. He begged his teacher for help. He detailed 2 plans, either escape after receiving the token or let Sky Wolf send the message, triggering the demon race's reaction and allowing the Primal Chaos City Leader to step in. His teacher smiled faintly, understanding Luo Feng's burning ambition. He said to let Sky Wolf send the message. The demon race wouldn't trust everything Sky Wolf said. They wouldn't send a universe master. And even if they did, the teacher could handle that. He told Luo Feng to secure the token first. It was absolutely worth it. Even he, the Primal Chaos City Leader, would fight for the chance to obtain something like this. Luo Feng agreed. His teacher looked at him with expectation, pride, and a touch of worry. Luo Feng was always full of surprises. Whether spirit reader or warrior, he was determined to walk both paths, even if that path was twice as hard. The sky above Ice Hell felt like it was holding its breath. Inside Sky Wolf's frozen palace, where every wall shimmered with frost forged from countless years of imprisonment, the atmosphere had turned unbearably tense. Sky Wolf, normally cold enough to make glaciers seem emotional, was pacing with an energy that felt almost unstable. His gaze kept darting toward his female servant as she connected to the virtual universe through Luo Feng's provided sensor. He couldn't hide it this time. Hope, raw, desperate, burning, was leaking out of him like steam through cracks in ice. He muttered that he had been detained here for an eternity, that this single test might determine whether he ever walked free again. His voice grew sharp, jagged with a panic he'd never dared show. The words spilled out whether he wanted them to or not. This connection had to go through. Seconds felt like centuries. The servant's eyes finally opened. Sky Wolf whirled around, practically trembling, and demanded to know whether it was done. The servant bowed her head respectfully and said that someone had responded. Sky Wolf froze. And then every feather on his body shivered as primal delight surged through him. The beast who once sat like an ancient iceberg suddenly exploded with volcanic joy. A booming howl erupted from his chest, shaking the entire palace. He wasn't just relieved, he was reborn. The message had been received. It would be forwarded. His cry of ecstasy echoed off the icy walls like a beast tasting freedom again for the first time in countless years. Luo Feng simply looked at him and reminded him that he was a man of his word. Sky Wolf laughed, loud, wild, and triumphant. He told Luo Feng that he had never doubted him, not anymore. Luo Feng told the beast that he would be leaving now. Sky Wolf, still half in disbelief, half drunk on hope, told him to go, invited him, even. Like a king granting passage. The palace doors rumbled open, frost shaking loose from their edges. Luo Feng extended his Sha Wu wings, their metallic sheen slicing the air, and flew away without a single glance back. Inside, Sky Wolf's servants were already celebrating, voices echoing with reverence. Yet Sky Wolf waved them down sharply. He warned them that although the Purple Knight could not monitor every detail inside Ice Hell, they were playing a dangerous game. Until he actually escaped, no one was allowed to be careless. He stared out at the endless ice plains beyond the palace, whispering to himself that Luo Feng could hold onto the inheritance token temporarily. Once his race's supreme being arrived, Sky Wolf would take it back and present it to the clan as proof of his survival and strength. The very thought made him laugh again, quietly this time, with all emotion tightly contained, the sound echoing only inside the palace walls. Outside the palace, deep in the eastern Ice Hell snowfall, Luo Feng was met immediately by Ji Hong Emperor. Without a word, he teleported Luo Feng back to his own habitation. And there, finally out of sight, Luo Feng's calm facade shattered into excitement. He couldn't hide his joy. In his hands lay the Beast God Inheritance Token, a fragment of one of the greatest legacies in the universe. He marveled again at how powerful Ancestral God School truly was, owner of all 8 Beast God Inheritances, a force ancient and unfathomable. He remembered the day the Sealed Star was born, the ambushed by life-falling Emperor, and that strange golden pool Seven-Blade Emperor had revealed back then. Luo Feng now connected the dots. That pool, those sculptures, it must have been related to the same lineage. Seven-Blade Emperor, he must have touched this path as well. Luo Feng's heart raced at the implications. He whispered that he would personally visit the land of inheritance. That thanks to Sky Wolf's desperation and arrogance, he now held something priceless. And as for the supreme being coming for Sky Wolf, Luo Feng raised his head and let out a fearless smile. He would be waiting. And he wanted to see whether that so-called supreme being could truly stand against his teacher, Primal Chaos City Leader. Meanwhile, far away in Demon Race territory, the ripples of that tiny message flooded through ancient networks. On a bustling demon race planet filled with young warriors, a universe knight, an elder sky wolf, froze mid-movement as he received the alert. His eyes widened. His third student, Sibo Hua, was alive. Alive. He whispered the name emotionally. Sibo Hua had vanished ages ago, shortly after becoming his disciple. He had been devastated when the clan assumed the worst. Now he learned that his student not only lived, but had become an invincible emperor, without a single resource, trapped inside Ice Hell. The elder sky wolf actually laughed out loud, the pride rolling off him in waves. He said that he had always believed Sibo Hua had the potential to become a universe knight. If only Sibo Hua had stayed inside the clan, received proper nurturing, he would have ascended long ago. His joy filled the palace like an overflowing fire. One of his other students, an emperor-level sky wolf, approached, asking whether the knight would be leaving. The elder replied that he had matters to attend to. He would return soon. Then he vanished. Deep within demon race space, even more astonishing events were unfolding. A palace floated among the stars, surrounded by gigantic flames, each flame the size of planets, folded into extra-dimensional space. The palace itself bent time and space around it like a sovereign deforming his throne room. Only those extremely close could even perceive the structure at all. A blue sky wolf appeared on the enormous square outside the palace and bowed deeply. This was the home, no, the throne, of one of the absolute sovereigns of the demon race. A voice from the palace, a colossal presence, a rumble older than galaxies, asked why the knight had come. The knight reported the news, his voice full of reverence and hope. His lost student, Sibo Hua, had been on the list for turning back time rescue, a privilege granted only to prodigies of immense potential. The supreme beings had tried to resurrect him. They had failed. They assumed Sibo Hua's mind had been seized by others. They'd given up. Now, the truth was revealed. Sibo Hua was still alive, trapped. An invincible emperor born in Ice Hell. The great voice thundered with surprise. Then with interest. Then with decision. The knight humbly admitted he wanted to rescue Sibo Hua but feared he was no match for the Purple Knight and the Blue Knight who guarded the region. He asked to borrow Sky Flower Knight, second only to the leader. But the leader replied that Sky Flower was unreachable, lost somewhere in a dangerous zone beyond the universe. So he, the master of Sky Wolf himself, would go. At that moment, all the giant flames around the palace shot inward, shrinking, condensing into tiny tongues of fire that merged into sculptures decorating the interior. The entire structure pulsed with unimaginable power. The knights stared, awestruck. This palace was one of their race's priceless treasures, owned by their master since the dawn of the universe. The next instant, the entire palace vanished. Only the knight remained, floating in stunned silence. But then an immense surge of joy exploded within him. His precious student, Sibo Hua, would be saved. Inside the Ice Hell Starband, reality shattered. Without warning, a titanic palace surrounded by flames appeared in the void, imposing itself upon the entire star sector. Its mere presence bent the domain into submission. Every undying creature in Ice Hell felt the crushing pressure and trembled in terror. Master of Sky Wolf had arrived. Purple light and blue light streaked toward the palace. Purple Knight and Blue Knight rushing to greet the visitor. Master of Sky Wolf emerged slowly, walking like a creature made from pure law. Fire coiled around him. Space and time bowed to him. Even the sealed Ice Hell treasure quivered under his presence. The Supreme Being declared that a Sky Wolf was being detained inside Ice Hell, and commanded its release. Neither Purple Knight nor Blue Knight had imagined a universe master of this level would show up for a single undying prisoner. The Blue Knight complied, activating the Ice Hell treasure. With a flick of his hand, Sibo Hua was kicked out of the sealed realm like a pebble tossed from a river. Sibo Hua tumbled across the stars before steadying himself, then froze. He saw them. The purple and blue figures. The flaming palace. And the black Sky Wolf, the legendary master of Sky Wolf. He immediately groveled, overwhelmed by awe. The master asked Purple Knight to evaluate Sibo Hua's strength. Purple Knight admitted that Sibo Hua ranked among the top 5 in all Ice Hell, and with proper treasures, could fight among invincible emperors. The master demanded why someone with such talent was detained. Blue Knight answered sharply that the fault lay with his Ice Hell treasure, not Purple Knight. A fatal mistake. Master of Sky Wolf's eyes turned cold. Without lifting a claw, he released an invisible force that hurled Blue Knight away. cracking his body apart like brittle ice before it reassembled itself. Purple Knight panicked and begged him to calm down. Master of Sky Wolf relented, barely. It was only a minor punishment, he said. But Blue Knight was trembling with suppressed rage. Then Donghua made his move. He informed the master that there was a human in Ice Hell, one who possessed a beast god token. It did not dare admit it had traded the token away, but hoped this would tilt its leader's anger elsewhere. Master of Sky Wolf immediately demanded that the human be handed over. Purple Knight and Blue Knight exchanged a glance, and said no. That stunned even the Supreme Being. He demanded again, fury vibrating through every corner of the starband. Purple Knight repeated that there was no human. Blue Knight backed him up, saying the human had died long ago. Master of Sky Wolf couldn't believe what he was hearing. His gaze turned sharp and lethal. He accused them of defying him. And he asked the question that froze the air. Who was protecting that human? Donghua, sensing the opportunity, shouted that he personally saw the human. Master of Sky Wolf roared again, demanding the truth. Purple Knight finally exploded, asking whether Master of Sky Wolf intended to fight them both over a single human prisoner. Blue Knight warned him to think carefully. Both secretly sent a message to Mountain Sitting Guest, Luo Feng's hidden protector, and one of the most terrifying beings in existence. Mountain Sitting Guest responded with a simple command. Give him the human. Do not interfere. Do not reveal who he is to me. That shocked the knights, but it was an order. And so Purple Knight sighed, nodded, and announced they would hand Luo Feng over. Deep in eastern Ice Hell, Luo Feng waited in his habitation. The next moment, everything snapped. The sealing force around him tightened like a fist. Space shattered in front of him. He was dragged out into the void without resistance. He unfolded his wings and stabilized himself among the stars, only to see a sight that made even his heart jolt. Purple Knight and Blue Knight hovered far away. And opposite them, a gigantic flaming palace glowed like a sun. A black sky wolf stood there, Master of Sky Wolf in the flesh. Next to him, Donghua sneered down at Luo Feng, dripping with satisfaction. Donghua declared that the token had only been a temporary loan, and now both the token and Luo Feng's life would be taken. Master of Sky Wolf looked at Luo Feng as if he were a parasite. He commented on Luo Feng's strong background, then told him bluntly that it didn't matter. He would die here. Luo Feng's eyes flickered toward the void. Where was his teacher? He had felt certain Primal Chaos City Leader would arrive instantly. Master of Sky Wolf raised his claw, ready to strike. He said a single word. Die. The entire starband heard it. Donghua heard it. Both knights heard it. And then, reality changed. Across the Ice Hell Starband appeared a sky river stretching several light years long. A shimmering cosmic river made of pure treasure energy. It looked like a passage to another universe, a celestial flood of divine artifacts drifting on its currents. Purple Knight gasped. Blue Knight's jaw dropped. 1,000 voices seemed to whisper through space as the treasures bobbed along the infinite current. The 1,000 treasure river had appeared. The pressure from it crushed flames, suppressed the palace, and warped the surrounding starband. Master of Sky Wolf stared in disbelief. This river was legendary, an artifact tied to only one being. Only one being who could call it forth. The Supreme Being roared into the cosmos, his voice trembling with shock and rising anger. Primal Chaos City Leader. If you are here, then show yourself. But the river only flowed silently, covering the entire starband in its unstoppable brilliance. And even the flaming palace began to shake. The heavens of Ice Hell had shifted, and the true powerhouse had arrived. And that's it for today's episode. Thanks so much for watching till the end. I really appreciate your support. If you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Swallowed Star episodes. This video's like target is 300 likes, so please help me reach it. I know you all can make it happen. See you in the next video.